Hey everyone, welcome back to this rapid game. So today we've got e4, e5 opening, and let's go for an Italian. We've played a Spanish before. So yeah, definitely for those of you who want something really solid, then Italian or Spanish is good to have in your repertoire. I mean, we can also go for stuff like the Evans. For this particular game, let's go for a solid option. Yes, so knight f6, pawn to c3 and pawn to d3. This is very normal. So black goes d6, and here usually white will just castle. And then depending on what black does, we'll generally just play h3, rook to e1, and develop our knight after that. There's some lines here with bishop to g5 as well, which are definitely playable, but I'm going to try and avoid it and just play sort of the normal setup. It's a h6, we'll play the move rook to e1. There's a lot of subtleties here for both sides, so we have to sort of be aware what black is trying to do here. Okay, so black plays the move rook to e8, so this is typically followed by the move bishop to e6 to try and trade off these bishops. So we just play the move knight to d2. This would be the normal way of continuing. Let's do that. Black also hasn't really pushed his a pawn at all. So at some point maybe we can gain some space here with the moves b4 and a4, which is typical in these type of structures. Okay, so black plays the move pawn to a6. So we have two options here. We can go bishop to b3, which is the old main line. I don't know why people have stopped playing this move because it's perfectly fine. Also, black is hinting at some knight a5 winning our bishop pair in this position. Or we can play this move pawn to a4, which is a lot more popular nowadays. But yeah, they're both fine to me. I don't really see too many problems with each one. We'll go for a4. a4 is the more trendy option at the moment. There's the bishop e6. So I think the main line here goes bishop takes e6, and then black will take back with the rook. And then we can expand on the queen side with the move pawn to b4. Yeah, this is probably one of the most solid, I guess, setups for black. Going a6, rook e8, bishop e6, recapturing with the rook. You can also recapture with the pawn, but I think it's better to keep the rook on e8 if you're going to do that. Okay, now we have a couple of options. The main move is queen c2, so let's get queen c2. So we would like to play this move pawn to b5 in this position, but then after captures, there's some tactics for black where he captures on f2 and then our rook is hanging. So in some positions here, we probably have to throw in the move knight to b3 just to keep our rook defended. And then maybe we try to play b5, expand there, and maybe slowly maybe play d4 as well. Okay, black is probably going to play some maneuver like this. The knight comes to g6. Okay, pawn to b5. What's the idea of this move? I suppose he wants to stop b5 from being played. So the question is, do we take it or do we just leave it there? I mean, I don't think he's threatening to take at the moment, because if he takes, we just recapture back with the rook, have pressure on the a6 pawn. So maybe just play knight b3. Defends the rook, like I said. Also, we can take and maybe play knight b3. This is also a playable move. I mean, if we don't take it, does he go queen b8 and take back with the queen? Possibly. I'll keep the tension on the pawn, just because I think I can take next move anyway, if I need to. Knight f1 was also another option, but I sort of get the feeling at some point he has to play d5 to try and open up the center. Then maybe we can try to go for the c5 square. Okay, I think black is very solid in this position. Okay, he does go for d5 pawn break, which makes sense. So if I take, open up the rook, can I play bishop to e3 in that position to try and either trade off bishops and put a bishop on a knight on c5, or maybe I can force him to play d4. So I'm looking to get a knight into this c5 square if I can. If I don't do anything, then he's sort of gotten in these pawn breaks for free. I don't want to take. If I take, I just let the queen come into the game. Or even the knight can just recapture. Okay, so if I go bishop to e3 now, how bad is this position? So bishop to e3, pawn goes to d4, I drop the bishop back to d2. And then if he captures me in this position, I can recapture. And then, okay, I give the d4 square, but I get the open file and I have some pressure on this pawn. Is it really that bad? Takes, I take with the rook. d4, drop the rook back. Then I put a knight into c5. It doesn't look that bad to me. So, okay, bishop e3. Captures the capture with the rook. d4, drop the bishop back. d4, bishop d2, rook d6. I always have pawn to c4 as well. And he probably doesn't want his bishop closed off in the corner. So I think after bishop d2, he probably has to capture. I do also have to also have this move pawn takes, which I didn't really consider because of knight takes b4, but maybe I can play this move. Takes, knight takes b4, but I play the move queen to d2. And then I'm attacking the knight moves, then I can push. If he takes the pawn, I can perhaps take back. And it doesn't look too bad for me. Doesn't look too bad. I actually want to get this position where he's forced to take back with a pawn on d4. So let's try this one. I think it's working. So if takes on b4, we play queen d2. We can also maybe play queen c3. That's also an option. Queen c3 looks interesting. If pawn takes here, we go bishop takes. Puts pressure on the c6 square as well. Okay, if it takes with the pawn, then we just drop the bishop back. If it takes on d4 with the knight, then I think we just take everything. Then sooner or later he'll end up with a pawn on the d4 square, which is what we want. There's probably also some tactic at the end. If he captures on d4, at the end maybe we take here, and then the rook is hanging and sort of the queen is overloaded because it has to defend the rook, has to defend d4 pawn. Yeah, overall I think we're doing quite good here. Yeah, pawn takes, we drop the bishop back to d2. And now we see this bishop is locked in by this pawn on d4. There's no more pressure on our f2 pawn. So this is exactly what we want here as white. We do have this weak pawn on b4, but we can always defend it with sort of pressure along this c file. Okay, now I think we take on this square. If knight takes, we can throw in the move queen to c4, I think. Also now we have this pin on this rook. I think knight c5 is a very strong move here now, chasing the rook back. Defends the pawn. If there's some tactic here where I can play rook to a6 and then pawn to e5. If I go rook to a6, then bishop takes c5. Can I throw in some e5 move there? It's very, very, very tricky looking move. Then knight takes e5, I take the queen, he takes the knight, I take back. Takes the rook, takes back. He gets a few pieces for it. I mean, the solid move here is probably just to play rook c1, but I really want to make something happen on this open file, but I'm just not seeing it at the moment. Also, we're running low on time now. We can also play knight b7, perhaps. Knight to b7. Take here. Okay, if we go rook here, bishop takes, we just take. Should be better there. Okay, I'll just go for the solid option. Though I would have liked to play rook a6. Okay, if he starts capturing on c5, then he's gonna have these sort of weak pawns everywhere. The knight's gonna be under attack, and there's gonna be a lot of pressure on these pawns. If knight e5, I think I just take. But he might need to play knight e5, I think. I can also not take it, but then I don't want the knight to get to g6. Knight takes, queen takes. f4 looks tempting, but I don't think it gets me anywhere. So yeah, I take this. How do I put pressure on his queen side? That's the problem. So now he might actually take the bishop, take the knight, because the bishop is not very good. So maybe I drop it back now. Drop it back to b3. So bishop to b6 to defend the pawn here. Yeah, makes sense. And now the rook's gonna get into the game. It's getting a little bit of counterplay. This is a bit too early, so it weakens my position. I'm just gonna play rook a1 for now, just so the rook doesn't get in. Okay, if rook to a4, maybe I can take, and maybe I can round up the a pawn. Okay, this move. Doesn't this drop a pawn? So why can't I just take on h6? So if I take on h6, he pushes g5. I mean, worst case I have f4, pawn takes, and then maybe bring the queen to f2. I don't see why I can't just take it. So I'm just going to take it. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't see it. Yeah, okay, so he plays this move, but now I have queen d2 as well as f4. I think I throw in queen d2 first, and then I play f4. Queen d2. Should be fine. I mean, the queen can go here to e6 and maybe attack my knight, but I have squares for the knight, so it should be fine. Then I play f4 next move. So he has to play knight h7, I think. But then I can defend my bishop. As long as I can get pawn takes, I should be fine. Oh, wait, did I just blunder? Oh, I think I just blundered a piece because of this. Completely missed that. So how do we save the piece now? Maybe I have to play rook b1 now to save the piece. But then he goes queen f6. Yeah, this is... something has definitely gone wrong here. Definitely should have played f4 last move. So if I takes, queen takes, yeah, it's not much happening there for me. Okay, guess we have to go for f4, but we're losing the piece now. Yeah, he's just going to capture the piece. Can we somehow make something happen? It's going to be pretty tough, I think. Because he can always just remove our bishop as well. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Our position was really, really good there. Probably should have just played f4. Would have been fine. Still minimal chances because the bishop's not in the game, but I mean, it should be lost. So queen can just come back as well. He's allowing g6. Guess we play g6. I think he should have just brought the queen back to e7 and just would have been game over. But now there's some chances. I mean, take, we have queen check, we have rook check. Some threats here he has to deal with. Queen h6 is also a threat he has to watch out for. So not trivial yet to convert this. Goes for this one. Can I just win here? I think this is just a blunder. I just take. Check. Now I have a choice of taking the rook and then taking the other rook if I want. Or I can just take the queen. I guess I just take the queen. The rook comes here, I check here. Yeah. Okay, I just check here. And I should be fine because I can bring the queen back to g5. Okay, I bring the queen to g5. I think this endgame should be winning. So if he sacks the rook for the pawn, or two rooks for the queen, then it should still be winning, I think. Pretty sure it's winning. So I sort of want to force all the pawns to get blockaded on all the dark squares, on all the light squares, sorry. Yeah, push them all to dark squares so then they get blockaded like this. If I can get my king to c4, it would be really good. Get my rook here. Okay, I push e5, bring the king into e4 square. And if I can get the king to d5, I think we win. Okay, sacrificing a pawn, but they're disconnected pawns, so it should be fine. The rook can stop them quite easily. Yeah, so here I can just win this pawn. King e4. Yeah, okay, so actually fairly lucky in the end, although we had a much better position for pretty much the start of the game and into the middle game. So yeah, this is all fine. See if this actually been played before. I'm sure it has. Queen c2, b5. Yeah, there's a couple of games here. Knight b3, d5, bishop to e3. So yeah, I think d4 was definitely a mistake by black because it allowed us to sort of force a position where the bishop is blocked out. It doesn't really get into the game. So I wonder why this is a blunder. It wants to just double rooks. Okay, so just doubling rooks on the a file, putting pressure so that this bishop can't move is probably the way to go here. So yeah, maybe even our rook a6 might have been okay. No, actually no, it runs into knight b4. So maybe just rook a2 would have been better. Okay, knight c5 was okay. Or e5, so it wants to go e5, interesting. So e5, knight takes, what's the idea? Rook takes, wants to go knight e4. Okay, knight takes and then bishop to f4. Okay, that's a tough tactic to see. And if black doesn't take, what's the idea? Okay, some queen c6 move. Okay, so that's an interesting idea there. e5. Yeah, g6 just drops a pawn. g5. Okay, knight d2 is also playable. Wonder if f4 is winning here. Apparently not. f4 is apparently still equal for black. So you can go queen takes and just open up the f file, and apparently the bishop is still stuck. So even after this, I guess black gets a lot of activity. So even if I get my queen here and rook f1, the queen can go to e3 check, and it's still a little bit annoying. So maybe here we had to go knight d2. This is our only move. Okay, now it's completely lost here. And yeah, just queen e7. Although actually after queen e7 for some reason he's lost his advantage. Okay, he should play queen e6 back here and he should be fine. Okay, so tough game. I hope you enjoyed this game. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next rapid game.